Hey everyone, Jonathan and Molly here, and welcome back to Savoring the Magic.
We are two siblings who share a love of Disney, film history, and general nerddom, and all the details in between that make up modern day magic.
That's right. So I'm sure you've noticed that lately we have been at Magic Kingdom a lot. So by default, we've also been at the Ticket and Transportation Center a lot. Now, some of you might be wondering why it is such an ordeal to get from the Magic Kingdom parking lot into the park and why the TTC is around. So today we're going to talk about several of the reasons for its existence. So, come along on this excursion with us.
And today we are starting out on the ferry boats. See which one we're going to get.
Oh, and we're actually getting my favorite. I know it's probably weird to have a favorite ferry boat, but I do, and it is the Admiral's ferry boat. Admiral Joe Fowler, everyone. Do you have a favorite ferry boat?
I do not.
Okay. Well,
my favorite ferry boat is whichever one is here.
well, now that we have unloaded from the ferry, we have to know, where do you fall? Are you team monorail? Are you team ferry boat? Because do you have a favorite mode of transportation from TTC?
These are the hard-hitting questions.
These are the hard-hitting questions that you have come to expect from Savoring the Magic, obviously.
That's right. Team monorail for me. I do like the boat.
I'm split, yeah. I really like the ferry boat in the evenings whenever everything on the lagoon is lit up.
Yeah.
But the monorail is so fun, so how do you pick?
It is. I pick the monorail.
Some of us have less trouble with it than others,
That's true.
Clearly. Ah yes, see? Here's that story building at work. The castle, mostly hidden by the train station.
That's right, a reference to a previous episode. So what better way to talk about the TTC than to make a loop of all the resorts that surround it.
That's right. So we literally rode the ferry boat over here to then take the monorail loop.
That's right.
We're that cool. What can we say?
That's right. We're heading downstairs to give you a little bit of history of the TTC.
Yep.
And give you some more picturesque views and not just on the escalator. So unrelated to the video, but one little fun fact. In November of 1973, then President Richard Nixon gave his televised address about Watergate right here in the Contemporary Resort in the Ballroom of the Americas. I'll throw in some pictures here. But this is the room.
All right, now that we found a shaded spot outside and close to Bay Lake.
And the tiniest little chairs you've ever seen.
They're so low. We might as well be sitting cross-legged on the ground right now, but
Yes.
it's cool. Let's talk about the TTC.
That's right, let's do it.
So there are actually several reasons for the TTC to be built and positioned the way that it is. And it kind of works on multiple levels. So it works on a practical level, on a story level, and then also for whenever the Magic Kingdom was being established, like within the context of 1971 and what exactly was going on. We're going to start with the practical level first.
So, you know, one of the reasons Florida was chosen for the project to begin with was the weather. Lots of space. And for the 1960s, a pretty established highway system, more so than you would have think at the time.
Yeah, and with that, a more established tourism industry as well, just with the beaches and all that kind of stuff.
Already here.
Yeah. They had also found out from a recent study that some 100 million Americans from the East, Midwest, and the South were never going to make the trip west, and therefore were never going to visit Disneyland. There was a market here, and Florida was perfect for it. So 18 months later, $5 million later, and 27,443 acres were purchased here in Central Florida. They had already planned on prioritizing the building process for the theme park and recreation complex to fund the rest of Walt's Florida project. And Walt had already determined that the northern part of the land would be ideal for the theme park section. Of course, at that point in time, thinking about only driving, people would have to pass all of that to go to the rest of it, so it was beneficial for it to be on the north side.
So as you can imagine, the acquisition process took a very long time, and it was mostly wetlands. I mean, everything that we know of the geography and the layout was not as it is now.
Yes.
Bay Lake was here, but even that was drudged and changed a lot in the process. And we all know Walt got to walk, some of the land, but by the time that he had passed, not much had been done.
Mm-mm. So yeah, they had a lot of land to clear, a lot of land to grade, and fast forward a little bit, and by the mid-1967, that process was underway. They were carving out 43 miles of winding canals, which would be controlled by 22 automatic float gates to regulate water levels across the acreage. They were clearing sites of underbrush and relocating trees. There were soil analysis and aerial mappings. And in the process of moving soil, studies were beginning to show that a large portion of the land that they had set aside for the theme park area was actually not going to be able to be constructed on. So, fun times.
This could have been a massive setback had it not been for Bill Martin, a project designer who was one of the key people in developing Disneyland. He promoted the scheme to transform the undevelopable mass of wetlands into a sparkling 200-acre lagoon, which has since become the prime waterside setting for the Magic Kingdom and its resorts on the monorail loop.
And of course, this is the monorail loop that we are currently enjoying today and taking you along with us as we talk about the TTC. So now this lagoon that ended up being developed to solve their little problem, of course, this is the Seven Seas Lagoon that we all travel on our way back into Magic Kingdom. And that wasn't the sole benefit of this practical solution. The lagoon would also serve as a westward expansion of Bay Lake, which of course now we're going to show you because we are here at Contemporary and can just give you a very picturesque view of the lake on the back side of it. So yeah, the excavated earth that they had from making Seven Seas Lagoon also had some additional benefits, like we're saying. It was about 16 feet or so that they were able to use to elevate Magic Kingdom. This is why Cinderella Castle is able to be seen and kind of towering as a beacon above everything. But also it allowed for the creation of the utilidors, which were super important in the practical running of Magic Kingdom and not breaking the illusion for guests as you move from land to land. Something I'm sure we will talk about in length in a future episode.
Absolutely.
So this is Bay Lake, guys. That is Discovery, the old Discovery Island off in the distance, actually, which I'm sure we'll talk about on a future episode. But like we said, Seven Seas Lagoon was going to be an expansion from Bay Lake, which was already here. However, it was a mess. There were a lot of cypress tree roots in the water, so it was just brown and murky. So of course they had to, dredge it and then refill it and, do all the cleaning in between that. But in the process of dredging it, they found that it was like white beach sand underneath in the lake. So they actually used that to help line the shores of Contemporary and I suppose Poly as well, because that was also being constructed at the time. So, fun fact.
So we are off to the next resort, the Polynesian.
That's right. We'll talk a little bit more about the context of whenever it was being built in 1971. So yeah, we're going to give you little tidbits and stuff as we move from location to location, because we're cool like that. There's a shot of some of the Contemporary being constructed, which it did open with the park in 1971. One of the best views as you get off the monorail.
That's right.
And Tiki Blue.
Still one of my favorites.
We're going to go down to the beach to talk about TTC more, but we can stop in the Moana Mercantile on our way. They're boasting a fair amount of Moana merch and Lilo and Stitch.
Yeah. So they recently refreshed some of the rooms
Yes.
to Moana. There's also a bigger gift shop downstairs.
Yeah.
We'll walk you through that one as well.
Yeah, why not? Do also love this is the BouTiki.
Yes. Wouldn't be complete without a pun.
That's very true. Well, that's fun. The serving.
Love that.
Look at that. And the Dole Whip container. Oh, I've got the Maui. Got the Maui hook on the necklace.
Nice resort sweatshirt.
And then here's the back of it.
It's nice.
It is. It feels really soft, by the way. Look at all the fun planters. And more Polly specific merch.
They even have a lamp.
I know.
Who doesn't need a tiki lamp?
I'd like to know. I kind of love the pineapple. It's
Yeah.
actually the mug.
Salt and pepper shakers.
Very cute.
And wouldn't be complete
Without a robe.
without a robe.
That's right, a branded robe.
Some Trader Sam's specific merch.
Yes, they have the mugs, they have whatever this is.
For that is.
I mean, it's cool looking. I'm not hating. I'm just a container of some.
Nice button
Oh,
up.
it's a chip and dip set.
The whatever
Guys,
this is a chip and dip.
This is why we read labels,
Or don't.
or why we should. Anyway, obviously I missed the boat on that. Oh, and for those of you who are into Duffy, I know he's super big overseas, but you can actually find stuff from all around here, including a little Spirit jersey.
It's cute.
A Disney friend of Duffy. Isn't that cute? I feel like most of his stuff is like at Alani, so
Yeah. This would be the next closest related area.
yes. So as we walk to the beach area, give you a little bit more about the TTC. Like we were saying, you know, clearly having parking lots next to the Magic Kingdom was not going to be ideal with the construction of the lagoon, but it also didn't work within the context of when this area was being developed. This kind of harkens back to lessons they learned in building Disneyland. And with Disneyland, Walt wasn't able to purchase as much of the land around the park as he would have liked. So he had no control over what went in over time. He absolutely detested this. And with the Florida project, they had the blessing of size and with it full control of the surrounding area. The establishment of the Ticket and Transportation Center was an ideal concept in this regard as well. Having a mile between the parking lots and the Magic Kingdom meant they had full control over the landscaping and the themed hotels, a much more pleasing sight than miles of asphalt. Also, in 1971, Magic Kingdom was the destination, and pretty much everyone drove there unless you were lucky enough to be staying at the Contemporary or here at the Poly. It was the transportation lifeblood of the resort, and also a built-in place where everyone could stop to purchase tickets if needed. Its importance only continued to grow with the opening of Epcot in 1982, since its monorail route expanded to the second park. You can see a hint of Cindy in the distance.
Tops of the spires. They're also building a new DVC wing.
Which is
for
going to have a
Polynesian.
great view of everything once it's built.
Yeah. All right.
Someone running in the background is the best.
Hilarious. So with that, we are off to our next resort destination to talk about the story component of the TTC.
That's right, our final resort
The final
destination, in
resort.
fact, before we go back to the TTC itself.
This entire lobby will be having a full refurbishment. I think 2024 is when they pushed it back. So I'll look for new carpeting. In addition to all this, the Ticket and Transportation Center contributed on a story level. From the edges of the TTC, you can see Cinderella's castle in the distance, thanks to that dirt excavated from the development of the Seven Seas Lagoon. From sightlines to soundtracks, Imagineers use the TTC as a chance to craft a movie-like transition from the outside world to the park. As you ride either a monorail or a ferry boat across the lagoon, the anticipation builds as that great castle grows a little larger in perspective. The ride there builds excitement, which only grows as you move through the park's entrance and toward Main Street.
So after riding all the different modes of transportation, we are now walking back to the Ticket and Transportation Center because it's actually a lovely little walk from Poly to there.
It's a lot easier just to walk there than ride back to Magic Kingdom and then ride back to TTC.
Yes, that is true. So we are going for ease.
A little
over.
stroll.
Yeah, you know, more steps because we're lacking in those.
That's right.
So thanks for joining us on this quick rundown of the Ticket and Transportation Center. And yeah, let us know, Team Monorail, Team Ferry Boat. We need to know.
That's right. Where do your allegiances lie?
That's right.
As always, thanks for watching the video. If you would like to, like, comment, subscribe, let us know your thoughts. We have videos coming out every Wednesday and Saturday. But until next time, keep savoring the magic.